gets it all. Williams will let it fly out of the end zone on the fly, and it will come out to the 20, and there the Buckeyes will put it in play. The quarterback, sophomore Art Schilchter, leads the Big Ten in total offense, averaging 194 yards per game. The fullback, senior Rick Volley, last week a career-high 97 yards against Indiana, rushing primarily from the tailback position. The tailback this week, after a week off with a hip pointer, is junior Cal Murray, averaging about 5 yards per crack. The split end, sophomore Gary Williams, second in the team in receptions, who comes out of the huddle for play one wide to the left. The flanker, Doug Donnelly, wide to the right. Donnelly, the team's leading receiver, averaging more than 20 yards per catch. It is a four-man defensive front that Art Schilchter is looking at. He will fake the handle and go long downfield, but it is incomplete at the 45. Take the handoff to Cal Murray. He was going for Donnelly, who was pretty well covered by Ross Anderson. Completing the offensive set for the Buckeyes, the center is Tom Waugh, the senior who Earl Bruce calls the biggest surprise of the season for Ohio State. The guards, Ernie Andrea and Ken Fritz, both seniors. The tackles, Timmy Burke, a senior, and Joe Lukens, only a freshman, who nonetheless is grading out very well each week. The tight end for his second start at that position, senior Bill Jaco. Chuck Hunter is in with the play for Ohio State. Out is Williams. In motion right to left, Doug Donnelly. He is all alone that way. A sweep will go to Cal Murray that direction. Across the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. One man to beat at the 40, the 30, and he is tripped up there on a fine defensive play by Ross Anderson. Routine sweep to the left side, but Murray was beyond the defense before they knew what hit them. Calvin Murray took a cut to the inside instead of staying along the goal line, and he ran into his tackler as opposed to the tackler getting him. He could have gone all the way with that. That's just a tough break for Murray. 52 yards for Cal Murray, and just like that, the Buckeyes have the ball at the 28 of Wisconsin on the left side. Donnelly is wide to the right, and it will go to the fullback, and Rick Volley will power inside the 25 to about the 22. It'll be a gain of near 5 or 6. Call it 2nd and 4. The stop by sophomore inside linebacker Larry Sperlin, who is side by side today with senior inside linebacker Dennis Christensen. The defensive line for Wisconsin, sophomore Guy Bolio, and you will hear a lot of underclassmen mentioned here. Junior Kurt Blaskowski is the defensive tackle. Freshman middle guard Tim Funfry. Tom Booker, a freshman defensive tackle, and junior Dave Ahrens, a very good one, is the defensive end on the left side. 2nd and 4, Schilchter to his right with the option. He will keep it, get away from one man, and down to about the Wisconsin 20, perhaps just inside it. He'll be about a yard short of the first, and it will be 3rd and 1. Tackled by Larry Sperlin. 3rd and short yardage, Campbell sweeps to the right side. Cal Murray cuts in at the 15, bounces off a man down to about the 10. He will have the first down and plenty. Murray had a hip pointer, which is a bone bruise, essentially. It's quite painful. Gain on that play for him, 9 yards. He did play last week, although he did not start. Earl Bruce has the rule that if a player does not practice full speed on Wednesday, he does not start in the game. Paul Campbell, had he been healthy to play today, would have been an example of that. 1st and goal for the Buckeyes. They have it at the 11 of Wisconsin on the right side. Donnelly in motion to the left. Schilchter back to throw. Looking over to the right, now scrambling, goes out to the right side. It is complete to Bill Jaco at the 8. He is knocked out of bounds immediately by Guy Bolio. And it will be a gain from just outside the 10 to about the 8. Call it a short 3, and it will be 2nd and 7. Ohio State leads the Big Ten in scoring after 6 games, averaging nearly 30 points per crack. They are 2nd in total offense. And again, we mentioned Wisconsin's Achilles heel, that of the pass defense. Donnelly wide to the left, man-to-man coverage when the offense gets in this tight. Sweep to the left side, and it is Cal Murray cutting it up. Goes inside the 5 to about the 4. There he is met solidly by 2 white jerseys. The Buckeyes can get a first down without getting a touchdown. There is about a foot to 18 inches in there that they can play with. Stop on that play by senior Dennis Christensen and also George Welch, a deep back who is substituting right now for Terry Strady. Wisconsin is a team that recruits primarily in its own state, and in Michigan and Illinois they do quite well in Bo Schembechler and Gary Moeller country. Spotted just inside the 5. It is 3rd and, call it A long three. Donnelly in motion to the right. Wide receivers each direction. Schilchter option to the right. He'll keep it. Turn it up. Touchdown, Buckeye. Reversed out. He opened up to his left, spun around quickly to the right. He was optioning with Cal Murray, but because of superb blocking by Jaco, Lukens, and Fritz, Schilchter was able to keep it, turn it up quickly, just around right end. He was not touched as he went in. Anikiewski now for the extra point. Greg Castagnola to hold. Good snap and placement. The kick is up and good. So in the first possession, the Buckeyes on the board. 11:59 remaining in the first quarter. The score, Ohio State 7, Wisconsin nothing. We pause for 30 seconds. Asa, the sidewinder, is ready. He walks up, boots it, and Neal will come up to it at his own 5, straight up the center of the field to the 10. 15 now to the right at the 20, the 25, and there he is cut down. Falling right on the 25, and on comes the Wisconsin offense, which is led by junior quarterback Steve Parrish. Only his third start for Wisconsin, but it is his third in a row. He is not a strong passing quarterback. He is pretty talented at the option. His fullback will be Dave Mohap, a sophomore. The tailback, Curtis Richardson, not Chucky Davis, who we learned only minutes ago is injured and will not play today. Richardson is a sophomore out of Youngstown North High School. High backfield, wide receivers each direction. The Buckeyes in a 5-man defensive front. On the first play, the fullback takes it right over his center for only a couple. Mohap runs into middle guard Tim Sawicki. It'll be spotted at the 27, 2nd and 8. Blocking for Wisconsin will be center Joe Rothbauer, a senior. The guards are freshmen Bob Winkler and senior Jim Martini. The tackle, sophomore Jerry Durger and senior Ray Snell, who is an All-American candidate. Look for Wisconsin to run over right tackle a lot today. The receiver, sophomore Tim Straka, a split end, and senior Ray Sidnauer, a 6'8 tight end. The flanker, senior Tom Stout. Wide slot to the left on what is 2nd and 8 from the 27. I backfield. Buckeye defense shift over to cover the wide side of the field, but the quarterback will option to the short side and keep it at the 35-40. 45 cuts back in midfield, gets all the way down to the Ohio State 45. Todd Bell, the roverback, finally cuts him down. But Parrish got beyond the linebackers that time, which means that the right side of Wisconsin's offensive line had good blocking. The chains will move up. It was a gain for Parrish of 27 yards, spotted right at the Ohio State 45 on the right side. Now the defense for the Buckeyes. The outside linebackers, junior Keith Ferguson and senior Jim Laughlin. The tackles, sophomore Jerome Foster and junior Luther Henson, senior Tim Sawicki, the middle guard. The rest in a moment. Wisconsin has this year, that kind of mistake takes place. Let's see if the Buckeyes go for the jugular now, if they have that killer instinct. It is spotted at the Buckeyes' own 44-yard line. Wide receivers each direction. Doug Donnelly has a one-on-one situation. Schilchter fumbles and falls on it in the backfield at the 41. He did not get the snap from center Tom Waugh. That will move it back 3. It will be 2nd and 13. Into the game, Chuck Hunter. Earl Bruce will call all his plays. Likewise, his counterpart in today's contest, Dave McClain. Dave McClain and Earl Bruce were assistant coaches back in the late 1960s, right here at Ohio State under Woody Hayes. 2nd and 13. Schilchter fakes, back to throw, looks long downfield. He is hit from behind. Is it a fumble or a loose pass? It is going to be a fumble. It is covered at the 23, and the official, the backfield judge, I think is going to give the ball to Wisconsin. He was looking at other officials to find out if they had ruled that Schlichter's arm was in motion. He was blindsided from behind. No signal yet. They are conferring. Now the referee, well, there is a penalty on the play, illegal motion against Ohio State. That will only delay the call. And apparently they're going... Well, I won't even guess on it. Back at Ohio State's 22, and it is now 3rd and 30. Donnelly is in motion from right to left, joining Gary Williams, and draw a play to Cal Murray. Gets away from the man at the 20, out to the 25, and to about the 29. But on will come the punt team of Ohio State. He is stopped by Larry Spurlin, and the loss on that fumble, 19 yards for the Buckeyes. Schilchter appears okay. He was stung. He was hit high. And, of course, there is that rule in college football in the last couple years which says that a defenseman may not lower his head and bury the top of it into the back of a ball carrier. It will be Ora's punting, averaging 42-plus per kick. He will get it off just outside his own 15. And it will be sophomore, or rather senior flanker Tom Stouth back to get it. Low spiral out of Orrs. Nice kick, but it might be low enough that it will outrun its coverage. At the 25, Stouth stumbles. To the 30, he is covered there by several Ohio State defenders. The score, Ohio State 7, Wisconsin nothing. We pause for 30 seconds. He can offer a real deal, and he has them on sale now.
Where is this place?
Bob Pennick, Gravely, and Wellington at 516 West Herrick Street. Calling signals, two wide receivers to the right, but he'll go to the short side of the field with the option and be dragged down a yard in his backfield. Jim Laughlin gets a hand on him, and so does Jerome Foster. So we have seen Parrish go to the short side of the field with the option on both occasions, Bob. That might be a trend.
I think what the Buckeye defense is going to do here is they're going to start pinching, bringing their ends right back across the line of scrimmage immediately and not necessarily playing off that block to shut off that option game to the outside.
Loss of a short one, call it 2nd and 11. Five-man defensive front for the Buckeyes, which shifts right before the snap as motion right to left, or rather left to right, out of Wisconsin, rolling to throws Parrish. Down the right sideline, his man is open at the 45, the 40, 35, run out of bounds at about the 25-yard line is Tom Stouth. He is stopped by Todd Bell, junior roverback. And that is one of those plays that Earl Bruce talked about in the pregame where Wisconsin will show an awful lot of motion. They will do a lot of trick, razzle-dazzle plays. And it was that time the motion man running just a simple rainbow pattern. He lined up far to the left, but ended up running right down the right sideline. For Stouth, 38 yards on the reception. And if Steve Parrish does not like to throw the ball, Bob, he certainly showed that he has the capable arm on that one.
Well, he's been leading us up the middle, around the outsides with the option, and he set us up perfectly for that. An excellently thrown pass.
Stouth stepped out of bounds, the official says, at the 35 of Ohio State. It is 1st and 10, and it will be fullback over his right guard down to the 30. Mohab got good blocking that time out of Martini and Snell. Stopped finally by Al Washington, the junior, who leads the Buckeyes in tackles coming into this game. Marcus Merrick is the freshman linebacker with him as we complete now the Ohio State defense, which we didn't have a chance to do last series. Gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Ball on the right. Parrish gets motion out of his flanker, right to left. It is Stouth. Option right side. Pitch quickly back to the tailback. He is covered right at the line of scrimmage. Curtis Richardson that time is sandwiched by Washington and Mike Getz, who has 3 interceptions to lead the Buckeyes in that category coming into today's game. Twice all Big Ten first string and having another marvelous year. And keep in mind what Bob mentioned in the pregame. In pass defense, Ohio State last week made a very significant, noteworthy change. The defensive backs decided to go for the ball rather than playing it safe as they had done in the first 5 games. 3rd and 5, perhaps a passing situation. Slot to the left, which is the wide side of the field. Parrish looks for the pass, quickie over the middle, and it is knocked out of the hands of the intended receiver by Vince Skilling. Tom Stouth was the man trying to hold on to it. The pattern is called a look-in pattern because essentially all the receiver does is get a chance to cross the line of scrimmage and then look back into his quarterback, and the ball is usually on its way.
We have one score in the second period. Southern Cal and Notre Dame are tied at 7-7. That is in the second period of play. Southern Cal, Notre Dame tied 7-7.
A couple of top 10 teams. That's a monster game today. A field goal attempt by Steve Veit that will be placed at the 37, making it a 47-yard attempt. The Buckeyes have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. Straightforward kicker is Veit. It is blocked at the 35 and covered at the 36. Vince Skilling, coming in from strong safety, did not give it a chance. He smothered it as soon as it was set almost. So the Buckeye defense comes up with its second big play in as many Wisconsin possessions. The Ohio State offense will get it with 6 minutes 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter, leading 7-0. A full house of 87,000 here. Both schools' bands are here to perform at halftime. And the Blocko card section spelling out Ohio as Schilchter sends Donnelly in motion. And it will be an inside trap. Donnelly out to the 40. That's a trick play that Ohio State has not run more than once or twice this year. Tackled by senior inside linebacker Dennis Christensen. Donnelly in motion, and that time he pulled up short. The snap coming just before Donnelly reached Schilchter. It was a quick handoff. Donnelly took it over center, was able to gain 3 at his 2nd and 7. Ball again on the left as Chuck Hunter and Doug Donnelly come out of the huddle first to slot on the right. They will get defensive coverage out of 3 men. Doug Donnelly probably will be double teamed today. He is that dangerous. But it will go to the short side, and the fullback, Rick Volley, out to the 45 and falls down at about midfield. He was tripped up at the line of scrimmage, kept his balance for 10 yards. Had he been able to regain it, there was nothing but touchdown ahead of him. Tripped up on the play by Larry Spurlin. Wisconsin has had its share of major injuries. A lot of talk in Madison about how they have affected the team's performance this year. Wisconsin is not a deep team, and when you don't have depth, injuries tend to dominate an awful lot of newspaper headlines in your hometown. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. High backfield, slot to the right. Schilchter, draw play. Cal Murray tripped up from behind before he reaches the 45 of Wisconsin. Again, it was Spurlin getting a hand just around Murray's ankles. The official will spot it at the 46 of Wisconsin. Gain of, call it a short 4, it will be 2nd and 6. On that previous play, it was an even 10-yard gain for Volley. Motion again out of Donnelly left to right. That is the pattern established by Ohio State the last several games. Sweep to the right side, Cal Murray, 45, driven backwards at the 44. Simply ran out of room. He had Joe Lukens and also pulling guard Kenny Fritz out in front of him. When Ohio State runs a sweep, a power sweep to one side, they will usually pull the guard on the play side. Sometimes they will pull the guard on the back side. Quick pitches, on the other hand, you can only pull your tackle. Because of the very nature of a quick pitch, a guard would not have a chance to get out in front of the runner. Yardage on the play, 2 for Murray. 3rd down and 3. Schilchter, keeper, right side. Sweeping, puts his head down at the 45, is knocked out of bounds at the 40, and perhaps a foot inside it. He will have the first down by a foot or 2. Larry Spurlin is again there for the stop. Spurlin leads Wisconsin in tackles. And if the Badgers are to have a good afternoon, you should be hearing the name Spurlin quite a bit. Again, Chuck Hunter is alternating with Gary Williams, bringing in the plays. Hunter, the converted fullback, who likes to split in quite nicely, thank you. He's wide to the right, Donnelly to the left. Schilchter fakes back to throw, looking for Donnelly, goes over the center. Donnelly tips to his hand. Down at the 15-yard line of Ohio State, George Welch got his hands on it. He only deflected it. Donnelly got his hands on it a couple feet farther downfield, but was unable to pull it in. And he had another man behind him, double coverage on Donnelly that time.
That defensive secondary didn't look that bad that time. They had their center fielder was in the right spot. That quite easily could have been an interception for Wisconsin.
Safety position, and Strady perhaps is hurt. On what is 2nd and 10, Schilchter back to throw. Quickly to the right side. Donnelly has it away from a man at the 35, the 30, and down to the 29 on a nice move. And there is a white jersey Badger still trying to figure out where Donnelly got to. George Welch was finally able to make the hit. Schilchter today has put the ball up 4 times. He has completed 2. It is a first down for Ohio State and even 10 yards for Donnelly. Let's go to the sidelines right now and Dave Purdy.
But Chuck, no one asked the half guard who his favorite receiver is. And on the previous pass, he kind of didn't do a very good job of camouflaging where he was going. And their safety did a good job of going for the ball.
Sweep left side, Cal Murray. High steps the man at the line of scrimmage at the 25. Still going, but running laterally. He is pulled down there. It'll be a gain of about 4. Call it 2nd and 6. Again, the stop by George Welch, the deep back. He had help from freshman defensive tackle Tom Booker. 4 freshmen in the starting lineup today for Wisconsin, 2 sophomores and 2 juniors. In total defense in the Big Ten, they rank 8th. They are giving up about 350 total yards per game.
This close to the goal line now favors Art Schilchter a little more with his passing arm because he's throwing into about a 20-knot wind out of the south. There's a good stiff wind there.
Flank to the left is Donnelly, but now in motion to the right, joining Gary Williams. Schilchter fakes it, rolling to his right, looking. He's got a lot of room. If he wants to run it, he will. At the 20, runs out of bounds at the 17 to prevent a Wisconsin Badger from really unloading on him. Larry Sperlin is able only to bump Schilchter, but he will have the first down.
When Schilchter faked the run and brought the defensive secondary up towards him, Donnelly was standing there wide open. I'm surprised he didn't see how open Donnelly was.
He looked that way and looked as though he wanted to throw, then smothered the urge and tucked it under his arm. Gain for Schilchter 7 yards. They needed about 6. Ball spotted just inside the 17 of Wisconsin. The Buckeyes leading 7-0 in the closing minutes of the first period. Knocking on the door again. Option left side. Schilchter with room. He will keep it and I think make a bad decision. At the 15-yard line, he goes down. He had his pitch man, and a defenseman, just as Schilchter decided to run it, committed himself to Schilchter. Cal Murray, I think, might have had a little room on the sidelines. But Schilchter was able to get about 3. It will be 2nd and 7. The ball spotted at the 14 of Wisconsin.
This Wisconsin defensive unit doesn't at all look like the Wisconsin defensive unit we talked about pregame.
How so?
Well, they're not rolling over and playing dead for one thing, and secondly, they're giving us some coverages and some looks that we weren't expecting.
They're now into a 5-man front. Schilchter back to throw, looks to the right side, goes that way. Jaco has it and drops it at the 9. And nobody is more upset about that than Jaco. Perfect pass. He was running a quick down and out. And I think Jaco took his eyes off the ball and was starting to turn into pay dirt. Only a second start at tight end. And at 6'5 and 265, he is a rather formidable target for the quarterback. At about the 13.5, Donnelly in motion to the right side. Schilchter again back to throw, looking for him. Goes to the right side instead, and it is a touchdown. Buckeyes, Bill Jaco, the tight end. Check it. Chuck Hunter, put in. Chuck Hunter on a down and out. Before the point after, let's go to the sidelines and Dave Purdy.
Well, we've talked about the good play selections that Coach Bruton's been coming up with. That time the fake was all the way to Donnelly. Art was watching him all the way and then did go to that 5-yard out or 10-yard out. It was a perfect pass and a great diving catch.
It was also a perfect kick by Onikiewski. A timeout on the field, 2:15 in the first quarter. The score, Ohio State 14, Wisconsin nothing. We pause for 30 seconds. Today, temperature approaching 80. It is a magnificent afternoon for college football as Asa kicks it. Wobbly kick. It will go into the left corner and will bounce once and go out of bounds and was not touched by a Wisconsin player, although there was one very close to it. It's a 5-yard penalty. The Buckeyes will have to kick again. Before they do, let's pause for station identification.
You're tuned to Ohio State.
Again to kick. Asa, this time low and deep. Neal on the left side at his own 7, heading back towards the center at the 10, 15, 20, dropped hard at the 23. And he was peppered by freshman linebacker Glenn Cobb, who is distinguishing himself this year on the kickoff coverage team of Ohio State. So Wisconsin has it. The ball will be spotted just shy of its own 25-yard line. Schilchter has thrown at least one touchdown pass now in every game this year. And that he's been picked off 2 times. Last year, after 6 games, he had been picked off 13 times. Wide slot to the right. There is a flanker to the right. But it will be instead the tailback at the line of scrimmage going straight over his center to the left outside the 25 to the 28. And stopped on the play by Ray Ellis is Dave Mohap. Mohap had been a questionable starter for reasons unknown to us. His backup is a freshman who we expect to see today, Gerald Green. Again, Chucky Davis who the Ohio State Buckeyes recruited, by the way, out of Macon, Georgia, has an ankle injury and is not available today. It is Green in there now for Mohap, and he is the single setback. Flanker to the right, slot farther out to the right. Inside trap play, and there is not a whole lot going for Curtis Richardson. He is dropped at about the line of scrimmage. Being charitable, call it a gain of 1, and it will be second, or rather third, and a long 5. Al Washington and Tim Sawicki get the hit. Sawicki has had some superb games the last 2 weeks. In fact, the defense has only given up 1 touchdown in each of the last 3 Saturday afternoons. That includes UCLA, Northwestern, and Indiana. Well, we were told by the Wisconsin information people that Chucky Davis was not available. He is now the tailback. So much for covering up injuries as a strategical move. Back to throw Parrish. Quickie over the center. It is caught on a diving catch out at the 37. Nice job out of Tim Straka, sophomore split end. Parrish threw it low, and he might have had to have done so. I think that was about the only route that he could have gotten it in there. A lot of scarlet jerseys around, and the official has spotted it at the 37. Gain of 8. That was enough for a first down, and the markers move up. 34 seconds, 33 seconds. This is the first quarter. Ohio State leads it 14-0. Full house on hand, reveling in what is Indian summer weather. Delightful day. Parrish to the right with the option. He'll keep it, get to the 40, and perhaps a foot or two beyond it. It'll be a gain of 3, second and 7. Lots of Buckeyes there. Earl Bruce, like his predecessor Woody Hayes, preaches strongly the gang tackling concept. Laughlin and Merrick were 2 of the Buckeyes there on that play. And that is the end of the first quarter. The score, Ohio State 14, Wisconsin nothing. This is the Ohio State Football Network. Ohio Stadium, where a sellout crowd of some 87,000 is watching Wisconsin open up the second quarter, trailing the Buckeyes 14-0. Parrish back to throw at his 35. Out to the left sideline, his receiver is wide open at the 50. And Straka will get down to the Ohio State 48 before Todd Bell drops him. This quarter is brought to you by Motorist Insurance Companies and Capital Financial Services. Gain on the play 13 for Straka. He is only a sophomore. His first 2 receptions as a collegiate football player went for touchdowns last year. About 75 degrees, a wind of some 16 miles an hour coming in from the open end of the horseshoe and just making a circular path around it. And it is the Wisconsin offense throwing into that wind right now. They have it at the Ohio State 47. Motion out of south to the right, but it will be the fullback who will get very little. Gerald Green tries it over his center, but Al Washington is there to meet him. He will be stopped short of the 45, in fact, right at the 46 of Ohio State. Gain of 1, it will be second and 9. Bob, Wisconsin's chronology of games this year, they had a tough opener. They took on Purdue and did not fare too well.
They lost to Purdue 41-20. They had a good game against Air Force. They beat them 38-0. UCLA handled them convincingly 37-12. San Diego State upset them 24-17.
Second and 9. Wisconsin 2-4 on the season, 1-2 in the Big Ten. The Buckeyes 6-0 and 3-0. Back to throw, Parrish, quick shot, complete, and the ball is loose at the 38-yard line. I think covered, yes, by Wisconsin at the Ohio State 38 after the ball was completed to Tim Straka at about the 33. The ball was hit directly by an Ohio State helmet, flew probably 5 to 10 yards into the air backwards, and on one bounce, Gerald Green fielded it like a shortstop. And they say he gets it at the Ohio State 39. It'll be third and 1. Let's go to Dave Purdy.
Well, it appears that Wisconsin's trying to offset our games by our linebackers. They're throwing that short slant in because our linebackers just aren't there. He made a good catch, but Vince Gillings did a good job of stripping it, but never even saw the ball loose.
Now 3 men in the backfield, tight ends each direction. Power play left side, and I don't know. Gerald Green took it over his left guard, and he was hit hard by Al Washington, who then had support from a teammate. And Washington is furious on the field, I think, because they are going to spot it far enough downfield for a Wisconsin first down. Or maybe he is just upset with the fact that the Buckeyes were not able to stop him short of that. The officials conferring they might have to bring out the chains. Yes, they will. 4th and short yardage. Wisconsin trailing by 2 touchdowns will go for it. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Second man through. Maybe not. Ray Ellis is one who thinks no. It was the tailback. The Ohio State defense cheering. And coming off the field, the offense edging out. And I think we're going to have another measurement. It was the tailback on that play who ran the ball, Curtis Richardson. And Jerome Foster and Tim Sawicki got the hit. They grabbed him down low, and the ball carrier lunged forward. And if he did make it, that is how he made it. The chains are out. Several players huddled around it. No, sir, Ohio State football. Williams wide to the right, the I backfield. Schilchter fakes the handoff, back to throw. Goes out to the right sideline, and nice catch out of Murray at the 45, the 50, the 45, and run out of bounds at the 40-yard line of Wisconsin. After taking a fake handoff, Murray bellied out to the right sideline. Schilchter dropped back and looked away from Murray, which drew the defensive backs away from him. He was wide open, finally chased out of bounds by Mickey Casey. Gain on the play, 22 for Murray, and he is picking them up in big chunks today. Schilchter, option left side. He'll keep it himself and be covered at the 38 of Wisconsin. It'll be a gain of 2, 2nd and 8. And Schilchter today, more often than not, has kept the option play, and it has not been there. The pitch has actually looked better, but sometimes in the game plan that develops during practice week, the coaches will indicate that the quarterback run might be there, and he might just be following a game plan too closely.
His key to the option is the defensive end, depending upon what the defensive end does. If the defensive end stays there, then he will option it. In this case, he thought the end was going outside, and he stepped in, and there he was.
Schilchter back to throw. Quick outlet pass, left side, Jaco at the 30. The left sideline down to the 25. He is stopped there by Ross Anderson. So the tight end is suddenly becoming rather prominent in the Ohio State passing attack today. We talked about, in fact, the word we used in our introduction to the broadcast was the strategic genius of Coach Earl Bruce. That is not the broadcasting team speaking. That is the likes of UCLA coach Terry Donahue and last week Indiana coach Lee Corso. 1st and 10 Buckeye, Schilchter option keeper. Cuts it back to the 20, and he will be dropped right there. Fumble on the play. Wisconsin thinks it has the ball, but apparently the official does not, because we see Terry Strady deep back grabbing his head in anguish. The stop was by senior defensive tackle Tom Schremp, who is alternating today with Kurt Blaskowski. Spotted right at the 20 in the center of the field. A gain for Schilchter of 5, and it is 2nd and 5. Gary Williams peels out of the huddle to the right.
For Art Schilchter, 8 carries for 25 yards. He is 5 for 8 through the air.
He has a tight end, Jaco, to the left. Murray is the eye back behind fullback Volley. Schilchter back to throw. Goes out to the right sideline. Pass complete. Gary Williams, touchdown, Buckeye. Williams caught the ball at the 5-yard line on what was a down and out. Schilchter had to throw a perfect pass because Williams was covered. The deep back went for the ball, and when Williams got it, he had only to turn his hips a final 5 yards, and he was in. Schilchter, a nice fake on the inside to Doug Donnelly that time. The kick by Anikiewski after a good snap and placement is good. A break in the action, 10:28 until halftime. The score, Ohio State 21, Wisconsin nothing. Action will continue after this. The kick with the wind behind the Buckeyes now will come right to the goal line and kneel, and he goes down on his knee. Was he in the end zone? One official is saying yes, he was. Neal, I don't think, had any presence of mind. He dropped his knee, and he could not have been more than an inch behind the white chalk. 1 inch farther forward, and Wisconsin would have been huddling out of the end zone.
I would say that was a very big break for Wisconsin. Very big break.
On the sidelines, Dave McClain is trying to shove his heart back through his throat to its proper position. Parrish the quarterback, Chucky Davis and Dave Mohap his running backs. Wide receivers each direction. Parrish is hit in the backfield, fumbles it, and then falls right on top of it. Jim Laughlin eats him alive. It's back at the 15, loss of 5, and it will be 2nd and 5. Some of the other major games today, Michigan playing at Illinois. The Wolverines ranked 11th. 16th rated Purdue is at Michigan State, where it is homecoming. Minnesota at Iowa, homecoming in Iowa City. And it is homecoming in Bloomington, where Indiana is hosting Northwestern.
And we have one Big Ten score, first period score. Purdue and Michigan State, no score.
That's actually a double slot because they have another running back flanked to the left. So it is heavily loaded to the left, but now in motion to the right goes the single setback, and a timeout by the official. Now comes the flag, probably delay of game, as Parrish was going through a long count, perhaps trying to run off an audible.
Go ahead, Bob. Halftime score now. It is Southern Cal and Notre Dame tied at 7 and 7. Southern Cal ranked 4th, Notre Dame ranked 9th. They are tied 7 and 7 at the half.
Flanker to the left, high backfield for Parrish, the junior who is hitting 58% of his passes. He will option right side, give it to the first man through. The ball is loose, covered by the Buckeyes at the 18. And again, a nice hit. Marcus Merrick forced the ball loose. Mike Guest got it on a Sunday hop. And there is a Wisconsin player down. It is Gerald Green, the freshman fullback who ran the ball. And he is rubbing, I think, his stomach. He held the ball and I think had the ball before it popped loose, jammed into his rib cage. 9 minutes, 10 seconds remaining until halftime. Ohio State right back in scoring position, leads at 21-0. Wisconsin 18, wide receivers each direction, Schilchter option right side. There's the pitch. Cal Murray moving wide to the 15, around the man at the 10, and steps out of bounds, I think, somewhere inside it. And that time Murray was able to turn the corner simply on raw speed. The Wisconsin defense played it as best it could, but Murray got in, they say, to the 8. And it will be a gain on the play of 11 for Cal Murray. And the Buckeyes now have it 1st and goal.
And right out in front of him, Burris and volley on that play.
9 minutes, 4 seconds until halftime as Donnelly comes out wide to the left. Man-to-man coverage. Don't you know Donnelly would like to have a pass, but it will be Cal Murray who gets inside the 5 to the 3 in right now fashion. He is straightened up and shoved backwards. Larry Spurlin, the sophomore inside linebacker, gets the first hit. But it will be comfortably inside the 5, and the Buckeyes will have it 2nd down. Art Schilchter, we have learned, now has 2,171 yards passing in his career at Ohio State. That puts him 4th on the all-time list. Slot to the right side. In motion out of the slot to the left is Donnelly. It is spotted at the 2.5. Schilchter going to the left. Quarterback keeper all the way. Cuts it up. Gets in. Touchdown Buckeyes. Schilchter goes the final 2 yards, his 2nd touchdown overland today. He has thrown for the other 2. It's Ohio State 27-0 as Onikiewski goes for another point after. The snap and placement are good. His kick will sail about 15 rows deep, almost up to the card section. A break in the action. 8:16 remaining until half. The score Ohio State 28, Wisconsin nothing. Action will continue after this. Atha's kick, he gets it all. Marvin Neal backpedals, and it will go out of the end zone on the fly. Atha, as he has done so many times this season, gets it all. It will come out to the 20. Mike Kallismicki is one of 2 Wisconsin quarterbacks who were supposed to be fighting for the starting job this year. Kallismicki was throwing a pass, snapped his hand forward and broke a thumb on the helmet of a defenseman. And Dave Purdy, I know you have been through that, and that is a painful experience that most quarterbacks at one time or another have felt.
Right, it's a very, very minor injury, but of course being on the throwing hand, it's going to keep that passing arm in motion just completely out of whack, so he's unavailable now.
Curtis Richardson for Wisconsin lines up the I back behind sophomore fullback Dave Mohap. Wide receivers to the right. Now in motion is Stout to the left. He'll get it inside trap play at the 20. Hit hard at the 24. Straightened up by Vince Skillings and dropped nicely. It'll be a gain of 4, 2nd and 6 for Wisconsin, which has been ineffective in virtually every facet of the game today. At halftime, tandem performances by the Ohio State Marching Band and the Wisconsin Marching Band. The Orange Bowl is here today watching this one, the 8th postseason bowl game to be represented at an Ohio State game this year. The Buckeyes ranked 18th in one preseason poll, not ranked at all in the other. Suddenly they are number 6. And they are doing it, as the players will tell you, because of emotion and spirit. Inside play, the fullback will take it out over the 25 to the 26. There is not a whole lot going as Ray Ellis comes up with help from Marcus Merrick to make the stop. Curtis Richardson, the ball carrier, spotted, well, they say the 27 of Wisconsin, 3rd and a long 3. That last scoring drive out of Ohio State, 18 yards, 3 plays, a minute 2 off the clock. The final 2 from Art Schilchter. Chucky Davis is now in for Kurt Richardson. Stouse comes out wide to the right with Straka. Mike Guest comes over. Gets some help from Todd Bell in coverage. 3rd and 3. Parrish, a running quarterback, throws this time. Quick pass that is bobbled but then caught, and getting out to about the 35-yard line before he is stopped by Al Washington is Tom Stouse. And almost all the passes thrown today by Wisconsin have been quick passes. Quick to the outside, quick to the inside. And as Dave Purdy mentioned, the quick pass is the key to neutralizing a blitzing linebacking core.
For Wisconsin and Steve Parrish, he is 5 of 6.
And this is the kid who doesn't like to throw. For academic research at Ohio State University. Part of the halftime activities, you'll also hear the Ohio State Band perform. Sweep to the left side on what is 1st and 10. And a big hit in the backfield away from the play, but the fullback Green will be stopped by Marcus Merrick out at the 38. Gain of a long 2. Call it 2nd and a long 7. And it was Marcus Merrick in the backfield, too, who popped a blocker. Wisconsin has alternated quite a bit in the backfield today. Dave McClain still groping for some kind of combination that will salvage this season. High backfield. It is Green, the fullback, wide receivers to the right. The Buckeyes will change from man-to-man back to zone coverage, mixing it up. Parrish to throw to the right side. A diving attempt at the 46 of Wisconsin by Stout is no good. The pass is low and short. Bell and Guess were providing the coverage. And it is now going to be 3rd and long. And we see on the sideline, defensive backfield coach Pete Carroll considering putting in another defensive back, Bob Murphy. But at this point, he is holding him back. And apparently the Buckeyes will play it straight.
Normally on that situation, you'll see Bob Murphy go in for Tim Sawicki on those passing situations. If they're going to do something different here, let's watch and see what it is.
Wisconsin today has put the ball up 7 times, completing 5. Parrish is going to throw this time. He's pressured, has to pull up short, gets away from one man and a second. He'll run it out to the 45. He'll be a couple feet short of the 1st down as Jerome Foster gets him from behind. And now Bob Murphy comes on, and he is replacing Vince Skillings. Stouse comes up, the wide receiver, and motions to Coach Dave McClain that Wisconsin is about a foot short, but on comes the kicking unit for the Badgers. They trail 28-0 with what is now just over 5 minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter. Ball is spotted in the center of the field at the 45. David Greenwood, freshman deep back, is also the punter, and he is a good one. He is averaging nearly 42 yards per kick, his longest this season, and this is no typographical error, 82 yards. Walking up to about the 35, Ohio State is setting up the return. Low end-over-end kick, very short. It will bounce at the Ohio State 28, now forward across the 25, and be stopped at the 22 as Mike Guest backs off and just lets it roll. Let's pause right now for station identification. 87,000 here, near 80-degree weather. The Buckeyes leading 28-0. Schilchter will sweep to Cal Murray to the left. Puts his head down at the 20, bangs out to about the 23. gain of only about 2, and it will be 2nd and 8. The Ohio State cheerleaders, 14 of them, 7 women, 7 men. They'll make the whole lap. They are passing right now in front of us. And on the sideline, running through Dave Purdy and the Ohio State marching band.
They give Calvin Murray 3 yards on that play, and I now have him at 10 carries, 100 yards. Calvin Murray.
Routine first half. Slot to the right side. Hicks coming out of it, gets a handoff. 25 out to the 30, and the Buckeyes have run that play now twice today. Larry Spurlin makes the stop for Wisconsin. The Buckeyes will be about a yard short of a first down. It will be 3rd. So apparently Earl Bruce deciding that in Ty Hicks and Doug Donnelly, he has 2 very talented runners as well as pass receivers. Donnelly has run that inside trap once today. He took a fake on another play that set up the touchdown pass to Gary Williams. Donnelly is in right now, sweeps to the short side of the field. It's the left side. Cal Murray, 35, 40, tight-roping it, steps out of bounds in front of his own bench, somewhere along there. But he got beyond the wave of defense. He was bumped at about the 35, lost his balance, and was not able to pull it back inside. The official, I think, will mark it at about the 39. It will be close to a first down. The stop by Dan Messenger, the sophomore D-back, into the game for the first time.
A couple of notes I had made earlier on the touchdown drive. Blocks by Donnelly, Jaco, and Foley, and again a couple of good blocks by Donnelly and Jaco to spring Murray on this pass drive. Some outstanding blocking by the offensive troops.
Ohio State gets its 11th first down of the day. Donnelly is in motion, and Schilchter looking, rolling to the right. He'll throw that way, and it is almost picked off at the 45 of Wisconsin. Thrown just a tad behind Doug Donnelly, who had shaken himself loose. Perry Strady was the guy who got his hands on it, but he was off balance, and when he fell to the ground, he lost it. Pretty good coverage that time, as Donnelly had attracted not only a cornerback on that side, but also the free safety, Terry Strady. And that is not surprising. Donnelly might not have to get too accustomed to being double covered because Ohio State is so dangerous with its other receivers. The defense can gang up on one of them. Donnelly in motion, left to right on what is 2nd and 10. Schilchter, draw play, Cal Murray to the left sideline, 45, tries to get away from a man at the 50, does so, but is then chased out of bounds at the 47 of Wisconsin. Dennis Christensen makes the final stop. Murray that time found nothing going straight over center, so he had to turn instantly out to the left. And again, his speed got him some yardage that slower backs would not have been able to get. Another first down for the Buckeyes, gain on the play 13 for Murray, and he continues to get them in big chunks. The Wisconsin marching band, decked out in black and red and white uniforms, is filing down to the closed end of the horseshoe. They will perform first at halftime, which is now 3 minutes, 13 seconds away. Schilchter inside to his fullback volley, who gets inside the 45 to the 44. It'll be a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. The tackle by freshman middle guard Tim Hunfry.
Calvin Murray is the 12 carries now for 128 yards. Art Schilchter through the air is 6 for 10 for 83 yards.
Some other big games today. Penn State is playing at Syracuse. Texas, ranked 2nd, is at Arkansas. Arkansas ranked 10th. The Southwest Conference lead is at stake in that one. 17th bid is at 12th ranked Washington as Cal Murray will go to the right side, put his head down at the 40, and get close, but I don't think too close to a first down. Or at least not close enough. It will be spotted inside the 40. Call it the 39, and Ohio State will have it 3rd and a long one. The stop is by senior Casey Cabral, who is into the game for the first time. He had help from Dan Messenger.
You were speaking of scores, and the only Big Ten score I have in as of yet right now is the Purdue-Michigan State game. In the second period, there is no score there.
Sweep right side on 3rd and short. Cal Murray gets the first down inside the 35 to the 33. And in traffic, Murray lifts his feet real high. Like pistons in an automobile engine, he just churns through heavy traffic. Wow, it is 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes at the 33. Schilchter back to throw. Donnelly's going over the center, but the pass comes out to the left sideline instead to Brad Dwelly, who hits it and is hit at about the 28 of Wisconsin. Dwelly, of course, prior to this play, had 1 reception as an Ohio State Buckeye. It was for a touchdown. He was the hero of the Northwestern game. And And he is covered that time by Messenger for the Badgers. Forward progress, say, the 26th. On the left side, it is second and a long 3. Sweep to the short side of the field. Jimmy Gale cuts it up short. He'll get inside the 25 to about the 24. He'll be close to, but short, I believe, of a first. Gale is the sophomore out of Hampton, Virginia, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. And coaches will tell you that they enjoy running backs. 3.5 yards is acceptable because it's generally agreed that if you're averaging 3.5 yards per shot, you're going to get a first down every third play. Hunter is out wide to the right, slot to the left. Sweep to the left side. Jimmy Gale cuts it up to 25. A flag goes down as Gale falls on the 20-yard line, which is enough for the first down. Let's see what the flag is. And we see one official, I think, pointing back towards the offense. George Welch gets the hit. 3rd and 17. Schilchter is back to throw. He goes short to the left side and bounces the pass 3 yards short of his intended receiver, Jimmy Gale, out of the backfield. So it will now be 4th and long. The line of scrimmage is the 40. It would be a 57-yard field goal attempt. So Earl Bruce will send in, I think, Bob Atha, and indeed they are going to try it. Now, Atha kicked a 50-yarder earlier this year, which is his career best. He has about a 16-mile wind directly behind him. Ball is spotted on the right side at the 47, a 57-yard attempt. Sidewinder is Atha. Good snap, and it is blocked at the line of scrimmage. Caught in the air back at the 25 by George Welch. He is running to the right at the 30 and is knocked out of bounds somewhere just outside it. Greg Castagnola was the holder, and he was the man who eventually made the tackle. So we will not get an opportunity to measure the strength of Atha's leg. And he, on the sideline, is talking things over with one of his teammates about what went wrong. Their quarterback, Parrish, has the ball at what is the 32-yard line. He will give to his tailback, Chucky Davis, who goes wide to the left at the 35, at the 40, between two Buckeyes who finally pull him down at about the 43. Jim Laughlin is one of them. Davis wanted to start to his right. There was nothing there, so he reversed his field in the backfield. The official spots it at the 42.5, and that is close enough, I think, for a first down measurement. And we wanted to mention our halftime guest, Mr. Lapidus, will be talking about the value of academic research to you and me. First down, gain of exactly 10 yards for Wisconsin. Buckeyes are putting the ball up, testing that inexperienced secondary of Wisconsin. Spot to the right side, wide receiver to the left. The four-man defensive front for Ohio State. The give is to the tailback, and Chucky Davis is hit a yard deep, spikes back to the line of scrimmage, and perhaps a yard or two forward. Keith Ferguson, nice shot defensively. The Ohio State defensive line a little earlier was taking some of their traps, but I think since early in the first period, we've been doing a little more pinching by our defensive ends. Pinching means instead of going towards the quarterback, they'll go straight ahead and make sure that they shut off the outside option play, and they're continuing to do that now and causing the Badgers to run generally straight up or with inside the ends and shutting them off rather convincingly. Good defensive line, good attack at the line of scrimmage, and they're playing some heads-up ball today. Slot to the right side. 3 defensive men for the Buckeyes go over to cover it. Parrish is back to throw. Goes over the center. Nice catch at the 42 of Ohio State by Tim Straka. He was running that hard down and in look-in pattern, and the ball was thrown behind him. It was such a short pass that Straka did not have a whole lot of time to react, but he got it. First down for Wisconsin marked at the 41 of Ohio State. Big Ten scores now. First period, Michigan and Illinois. There is no score there. In the second period, Purdue 7, Michigan State nothing. After a gain of 14, Parrish is tripped up in the backfield from behind, instantly calls timeout, but it was Mark Sullivan who got him. And Parrish couldn't believe it. He was rolling along the line of scrimmage looking to pass, and he went down that quickly. Boom. State 44, last play of the first half. Parrish will go to his right, look down the right side, and go for it all. The ball is almost picked off at the 15 by Mike Guest. He had excellent coverage on Ray Sidnauer, the tight end. That ends the first half as the teams crisscross. heading to their respective tunnels and locker rooms. The score at halftime, Ohio State 28, Wisconsin nothing. This is the Ohio State Football Network. Coaches the ball and kicks it deep once again. Neal will backpedal and let it bounce 8-yard deep, and on one hop roll out of the end zone. It will come out to the 20 for this Wisconsin offense, which starts only 5 seniors, 2 freshmen, 1 junior, and 3 sophomores. Dave McClain, somewhat like Rick Venturi at Northwestern, is banking on the future by playing an awful lot of underclassmen. Let's go to the sidelines and Dave Purdy. Parrish has a slot to the left side on 1st and 10 from the 20. Ball in the center of the field. Chucky Davis is his tailback. Option to the right side. He will give it to the first man through, the fullback Mohap, who will get out to the 22 before he is dragged down at the ankles by Tim Sawicki, the senior middle guard. And we will check the Ohio State defensive lineup and see if there are any other changes. Murphy, of course, the strong safety in for Skillings right now, is a senior out of Santa Ynez, California. He was the hero of the Minnesota game, causing a fumble right at the goal line by a Minnesota receiver who had just caught a pass and then recovering the fumble. 2nd and 8 for the junior quarterback Parrish, who began this season as the 3rd-string quarterback. Motion to the right side. It will be the fullback again over his right guard, and out to about the 25, perhaps the 26 goes Mohap. So Wiki again on the stop along with Marcus Merritt.
Couple of scores coming in, a surprise, upset in the making. Tennessee leading Alabama 14-0 in the first period. Tennessee ranked 18th, jumping out in front of Alabama, ranked first, 14-0 in the first period.
And that is one of the roars that you heard as we were speaking with Bill Ward of the Orange Bowl Committee. After a gain of 5, it is now 3rd and a long 3. Again, wide receivers to the left, motion to the right. Option that way, and the quarterback is clobbered at the 24. Keith Ferguson was able to nail Parrish before he could get off the pitch. And Parrish, again, is only starting his 3rd game for Wisconsin. He transferred in from Kansas State, and he could have pitched much more quickly that time, but just did not have the opportunity. He held it a tad too long, and Ferguson was there to meet him. So now, back to punt, Greenwood, averaging more than 40 per shot. Today, he has put the ball up once, but it was a short one of only 34. Mike Guess is back for the Buckeyes at the Buckeyes 37. The snap, a wobbly low spiral that it will bounce at the 45 on one hop to Guess, and he gets it out to the 47 before he is dropped. And it was, by the way, the defensive unit that started the game, with the exception of Bob Murphy, intact for the Buckeyes on that series. And perhaps with a little bit of breathing room, and should the Buckeyes be able to sustain the momentum that they took into the locker room at halftime, we will see some valuable alternating out of the Buckeyes as they try to get experience for some of their backup people. Schilchter is the quarterback. He will give to his fullback Volley, who gets out to midfield and a couple yards into Wisconsin territory on play 1. Line of scrimmage, the Ohio State 46, and it will be spotted at the 48 of Wisconsin. That will set up 2nd and about 5. Christensen, the tackle, a senior tri-captain for Dave McClain. Dave McClain, 40 years old. He's in his 2nd year at Wisconsin after 7 seasons as a head coach at Ball State, where he was quite successful. Fullback again, Volley, this time over the left side. His forward progress might have reached the 45 before he was shoved backwards by 3 white jerseys. He will be about a yard short of the first down, and it will be 3rd. Gain for Volley of a long 3. Larry Sperlin and David Greenwood make the stop. McClain has a rich Ohio background in coaching. He started at Upper Sandusky High School, then was a graduate assistant at Bowling Green, which is where he graduated from. Other coaching stints at Crestline, Ohio, then again at Bowling Green, as Rick Volley takes the 3rd and short yardage over his left guard, Ernie Andrea, gets the first down to the 41 of Wisconsin. A gain of 4, the chains will move up. After that, he was at Cornell, then Miami of Ohio under Bo Schembechler, then Kansas under Pepper Rogers, and assistant for Woody Hayes in 1969 and 70, then to Ball State for 7 years, and then Wisconsin, following John Jardine. 2nd year for McClain. 7 of his 8 assistants have real deep Ohio coaching roots. First and 10. Schilchter option left side. He'll keep it and get only to about the 38. It'll be a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 as Dave Ahrens is able to cover Schilchter up. And Schilchter gets up just a tad slowly. As on the sidelines, Earl Bruce whispers in through the helmet of Gary Williams with a play. Out comes Chuck Hunter.
Tennessee with a field goal now in the first period to lead number 1 ranked Alabama 17-0.
Alabama is often accused for playing a weak schedule, especially non-conference. Tennessee is expected to test a lot of teams in the Southeastern this year. Back to throw, Schilchter looks to the right side, throws short high into the air, and through the hands of his intended receiver down at the 30-yard line, Jimmy Gale. Gale had to leave his feet, and it was still over his head. Schilchter in the backfield kicks the super turf, a bit disgusted that he threw that one too hurriedly. It was a dump pass to his release valve. He has put the ball up 13 times today, completed 7.
It's interesting. I want to complete this thought about Art Schilchter and that touchy left shoulder here in just a minute as soon as we run through this play, Chuck.
It is 3rd and about 7. Back to throw, Schilchter looks over the center, pressured screen pass left side. Jimmy Gale at the 40, tripped up, gets to the 35, and rolls forward to the 34, right on the left sideline. Had not Dennis Christensen got him by the ankles, Gale had a little bit more room in front of him. The Buckeyes will be short of a first down. It will be spotted at the 34, and the crowd will begin cheering in a moment, asking Earl Bruce to go for it. The Buckeyes need a long 2 yards, and they're going to go for it. Blue skies, temperature about 80, delightful day. Schilchter calling signal, sweep right side, Jimmy Gale with blocking. Down to the 30, puts his head down, he'll have the first down at the 29. Rick Foley was in front of him. And so was Kenny Fritz, the All-American candidate, strongest man on the team in his leisure hours. The bench presses St. John Arena for kicks. Tackle on the play by Tim Crumphrey. First and 10 Buckeyes at the 29 on the right side. Wide receivers each direction, sweep to the left side. Jimmy Gale again, cuts it up at the 30. High hurdles a man at the line of scrimmage and will get down to about the 26 or 27. They'll spot it at the 27. It will be a gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Crumphrey again with help from freshman Jody O'Donnell, who is an inside linebacker, getting some work spelling Larry Spurlin right now for Wisconsin.
That slight shoulder separation that Art Schilchter had, and he played a little ouchie last week. And today in the first quarter, when he got that blind side hit that popped him square on the shoulder, I don't expect to see him see a whole lot of fourth quarter action this afternoon.
2nd and 8, Schilchter back to throw, looking for Gary Williams. He is open at the 10, has it. In at the 5, knocked out of bounds, right about there. The same play by which Gary Williams scored in the first half. Schilchter faked that new flanker draw, or trap play I should call it, where the flanker comes cutting in hard from his flanker position. Schilchter gives him a barehanded fake with the left hand, puts the ball behind his right hip and rolls out to the right. Williams open again, knocked out of bounds by Strady. Gain on the play of 21 yards. It is 1st and goal for Ohio State with 8:56 remaining in the third quarter. They lead 28-0. Ball on the right side. Tight ends both direction. Left side, Jimmy Gale dives into about the 3. Went over the blocking on the left side of Burke and Andrea, the tackle and guards. And it was defensive tackle Tom Schrempf, who lines up right at that position, that stopped Gale. So Gale getting a big test today.
And a score now in the third period. Southern Cal 21, Notre Dame 14.
Southern Cal had been odds-on choice for the national championship prior to its tie last week with Stanford. Spotted outside the 3, perhaps closer to the 4. In motion hard to the left is Ty Hicks. Rick Volley will take it over center and get very little. Nice job of the Wisconsin defensive line that time. And Wisconsin is still pretty much going with its regulars, as are the Buckeyes on offense. Hicks was in for Donnelly on that play. Donnelly is now out. Earl Bruce uses his wide receivers to bring in the plays from the sideline. Stop on that last play by Tim Crumphrey, Kurt Blaskowski, and Dennis Christensen. From the 3, 3rd and goal. Motion out of Donnelly to the wide side, which is the left, but it's back to the right. And Art Schilchter will keep it. He'll get down to the 1 and then rolled out of bounds. Nice fake to Jimmy Gale. Now the crowd will again cheer for the Buckeyes to go for it. Earl Bruce is looking around, and nope, they're going to kick it. And the student section, which is right at the closed end of the horseshoe there, not too happy with that. That perhaps is a courtesy extended to Wisconsin, though. The game at this point seems well in hand, although, of course, it is very early in the second half. Wisconsin, nonetheless, has mounted no real charge. It will be spotted at the 9 for Anikiewski. It's a 19-yard attempt. The kick is up. It was a good spot, and it is good. So 7:35 remaining now in the third quarter. The score, Ohio State 31, Wisconsin nothing. Action will continue in just 30 seconds. With the previous record holder, we'll get to it after this kick of Athas, which is on the fly, going to go out of the end zone. It will come out to the 20. Tom Clavin is the point we wanted to complete. He had held the record for career three-pointers with this pass kick of Anikiewski. That one is now in his hip pocket. So he now has, I think, a total of 3 records in kicking here at Ohio State. Callis Mickey and John Jostin, who's down for the whole year. Back to throw is Parrish, and he is going to almost be dropped and then get away from a man. Dump off a short pass to Chucky Davis, who is dropped at the 21 by Alvin Washington and Luther Henson. And in the backfield, it was Tim Sawicki who almost got the quarterback. Short pass of only a couple yards, and the gain then after the reception was good for only 1. It will be 2nd and 9 from the 21, ball on the right side. More scores coming in, some of them updating scores that we have already given to you. Bob, there are some others.
Halftime, Michigan and Illinois, no score. That's at the half. Michigan and Illinois, 0-0. At the half, Purdue 7, Michigan State nothing. At the half, Minnesota 10, Iowa 7, Northwestern Indiana, no score, first period.
In motion is Stouts, right to left. Back to throw and looking that way is Parrish. He will go to Stouts, picks off at the 25, at the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Ray Ellis. A 27-yard interception return by Ray Ellis, the junior cornerback out of Canton McKinley High School, who got the ball right on the right sideline. He had absolutely flawless coverage on Stout. The ball probably should not have been thrown, but Ellis was there. His second interception of the year, 27 yards for the touch. Anikiewski is on again. The count is 37-0, and Anikiewski gets number 38. A break in the action, 6:39 in the third quarter. Following another Ohio State Thunderbolt, it is Buckeyes 38, Wisconsin nothing. Action will continue in just 30 seconds. You're right. Athas kick, low sliver, might be tough to handle. Nope, at the 5-yard line, now at the 10, 15, 20, 25, and out to about the 27-yard line goes Troy King. Nice job of fielding a very tricky bounce. King is a reserve tailback, and he may see action before the day is done.
And we have a third quarter score, Purdue over Michigan State, 14-0. The gradual decline of the Michigan State Spartans this year. Third period, Purdue 14, Michigan State nothing.
The Spartans will be here in Ohio Stadium next week. Homecoming here at Ohio State, and the Spartans may come in absolutely smoking. New quarterback, Kevin Model, a junior. Hands off to his tailback, Chucky Davis, going wide to the right side. At the 30, he is met hard and dropped by Marcus Merrick. It'll be a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Model is a junior out of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. He is hitting 58% of his passes, same percentage as Parrish, the starter. Model played very little last year. He hasn't played a whole lot this year. Again, the quarterback position, because of injuries, has been very problematical this year for Dave McClain. The University of Wisconsin has an enrollment of about 39,000. It is one of the larger Big Ten schools. The school was founded way back in 1848. Curtis Richardson, the tailback, in front of Gerald Green, the fullback. Slot to the left side. Model will option to the right. He will turn it up at the 30, decides to keep it. Bad choice. He is covered by Alvin Washington and Luther Henson, which is 254 pounds and 212 pounds falling, I should say, on top of a 188-pound quarterback. The wind has been very consistent all day. It has given quarterbacks a chance to at least gauge it when they throw their passes, whether throwing into or against the wind. Kickers have tried to keep the ball low today, and there have been a couple poor punts by Wisconsin. Both of them have been into the wind. 5 minutes, 2 seconds in the third quarter. Back to throw is the quarterback rolling to his right. He'll keep it. Out at the 35, he is dropped in front of the Buckeye bench by Washington. Moto will be 2 yards short of a first down after a gain of 4. On 4th and 2, the Wisconsin players are looking to the bench, and Dave McClain is going to punt it out of there and try and give his defense some field position, which is something that really Wisconsin has not had today. They have lost 1 fumble. They've been picked off, and it has been mistakes like that that has kept the defense putting out or trying to put out brush fires all day. The punter in the game, David Greenwood, standing at his 20. He'll walk it up to about the 23. Gets a standing back at Ohio State's 30. Gary Williams and Rick Volley 10 yards in front of him. Low snap, but the return is on. Nice spiral. Guess will get it at the 27. No fair catch. 30. Bounces off a man. Running laterally back to the 25. Still keeps his feet. At the 25, a flag goes down, and after some jitterbugging, so does Guess. So Guess ran about 20 yards. His gain was about -2, and we'll check and see what the penalty is. It was after his reception, so the punt of 33 yards will stand. They are talking to Wisconsin. Might be a clip. It is. From the 13-yard line following the penalty, Donnelly is in motion to the right. Schilchter rolling that way, looking for Donnelly. Now he'll have to keep it, get away from one man, and throw it back to the center. Donnelly has it at the 22. Ducks his head to avoid being really cracked, but he nonetheless goes down. Line of scrimmage to 13. It'll be a gain of 9, 2nd and 1. Let's pause right now for station identification. WEOL, Elyria. Of the Wisconsin band to rescue. Back to throw, meanwhile, is Schilchter. Goes over the center, wide open, Doug Donnelly at the 45, dropped at the 47. Donnelly started from the right. He is getting up kind of slowly. He was hit right in the stomach, but he's okay. Mickey Casey, a cornerback, got him. One of Donnelly's apparent favorite patterns. He started to the right and ran the down and in. It's called a post pattern because you aim for the goal post. That is how the quarterback is able to judge your angle. On the play, 26 yards for Donnelly. One of 7 receivers, but Schilchter is hit today, and now Greg Castagnola comes in at quarterback. 1st and 10 for Ohio State. They have the ball 2 yards in their own territory. Rick Volley takes it over right tackle, and he will fall right on midfield. A gain of 2. It will be 2nd and 8. Wisconsin band members continue to search for one of their own who was passed up, I think, the entire breadth of A-deck. And
I don't think the Wisconsin people are taking too lightly to that. They are not laughing. They don't think that's too funny. And I noticed some of the band directors came over with fire in their eyes.
Well, last week, the Ohio State band kidnapped one of the drill team members of the Indiana band. The tuba section came over for a confrontation. Castagnola back to throw, completes it. Donnelly at the 40-yard line. He struggles forward to about the 38. Dennis Christensen covers him. Castagnola threw the ball with an awful lot of authority. And the Buckeyes today, between Castagnola and Schilchter, have put it up a total of 18 times and completed 12. Quite an afternoon. 13 yards that time for Donnelly. And it is amazing how wide open Donnelly can be. And don't you know that Doug Donnelly congratulates his fellow wide receivers because they are such a threat that the defense cannot double team him. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes at the 38 of Wisconsin. Ball on the left. Donnelly in motion from left to right. He joins Gary Williams. Castagnola. Draw play. Jimmy Gale away from a man at the line of scrimmage. Inside the 35 to about the 31. Stopped by Dave Ahrens, junior. They call them outside linebackers. More traditionally speaking, they can be labeled defensive ends. 2 minutes, 20 seconds remaining. This is the third quarter. Ohio State leads it quite comfortably, 38-0. Gain on that play for Gale, 7 yards, or rather 6 yards. Call it 2nd and 4. Flanker only to the right, but now in motion is Donnelly to the left, joining Chuck Hunter. Inside stuff, Rick Volley, he will have the first down, I think, as he goes over his tackle, Joe Lukens, down to near the 27. And the 27-yard line will get them a first down. Stopped by freshman Jody O'Donnell for Wisconsin.
Greg Castagnola is in the game, and Art Schilchter left with 11 for 17 and 153 yards in the air, 11 carries for 31 yards on the ground. Art Schilchter, another superb afternoon.
2 touchdown passes for Schilchter, 2 touchdown runs. I've got a story to tell you about Schilchter in a minute. It involves a comment from Michigan coach Bo Schembechler. It was a first down for Ohio State. From the 27, Castagnola will give it to Jimmy Gale through the line of scrimmage. 20. Hits the man. The ball is loose and covered by Wisconsin at the 15. Terry Strady, after hitting Gale very hard, comes up with the pigskin. First down the other way. The comment on Art Schilchter. Before this season began, the Big Ten Skywriters Tour, which is a bunch of newspaper reporters who fly around to the various Big Ten summer camps, asked Bo Schembechler about Ohio State being ranked in the preseason to finish as low as 4th in the Big Ten. And Schembechler said, "Gentlemen, you are forgetting that Ohio State has the finest quarterback in the nation." Since the season began, there have been other coaches who agree with that. One of them, UCLA coach Terry Donahue. Wisconsin has the ball on the left side, their own 15. A wide receivers each direction. The quarterback will give straight ahead to his fullback, and Gerald Green will get out close to the 20. It'll be a gain of 4, second down and 6. And the Wisconsin band member, I think, is now safely back in the fold. Let's go.
This year, though, passing yardage, completions, number of touchdown passes, and infrequency of interceptions are all taken into consideration.
Draw play on what is 2nd and 6. There is not a whole lot going for Chucky Davis. He will cross the 20 to about the 21 before Jerome Foster, the sophomore out of Detroit, drops him. Spotted at the 21, short gain of only a couple. It will be 3rd and 4.
To give you some idea how the Wisconsin ground game has gone this afternoon, there's Chuck Davis, 5 carries for 18 yards. Mo Happ, 6 carries, 18 yards. Steve Parrish, the first quarterback they started with, had 5 carries for 31 yards.
Fourth quarter, Southern Cal 35, Notre Dame 20. It is an option, and on what is 3rd and 3, the fullback takes it over his left tackle. The quarterback electing to give it to the fullback rather than option out wide. Tim Sawicki is able to stop Green just shy of the 25, and it will be 4th and 1. And I think we will see punter David Greenwood as the third quarter comes to a close. That means that should Wisconsin punt, it will have the wind behind it when it kicks the ball. The score is Ohio State 38, Wisconsin nothing. This is the Ohio State Football Network. With Bob Connors and Dave Purdy, this is Chuck Underwood as we begin the fourth quarter of play in Ohio Stadium. Wisconsin is about to punt. The Badgers trail 38-0. The snap and the punt, a dandy by Greenwood. Mike Guess will get it at the Ohio State 26 on the right sideline, 30. 35 runs right up the 2 wide jerseys and is dropped at the 36. A punt of 45 yards for Greenwood. This quarter is brought to you by Capital Financial Services and Motorist Insurance Company. Between the third and fourth quarter of play, during the break when the teams were changing ends, the Ohio State band en masse walked over to the Wisconsin band, played a song in their behalf, and the Ohio State cheerleaders and Wisconsin cheerleaders discoed together on the field. The pageantry continues, as does the Ohio State juggernaut. Castagnola sweeps to the left side. Jimmy Gale gets through a couple men out to the 40, to the 44. It looked as though nothing was there. And pardon me, although the numbers are similar, that was Tim Spencer running the ball, not Jimmy Gale. Spencer is the freshman out of St. Clairsville High School. And he is expected to come to full bloom here at Ohio State in the next 4 years and be a fine, fine tailback. So Spencer is in at tailback. Cliff Belmer is now in at fullback, replacing Rick Polly. Castagnola is the quarterback. Ty Hicks is in at flanker. He is wide to the right from the 43. Will be the fullback Belmer out across the 45 to about the 48, and I think first down yardage. That had been a gain of 7 for Spencer. The Buckeyes needed 3. Dennis Christensen, it is pronounced, stopped Belmer, but not before he did get the first down. It will be marked at the 48.
Earl Bruce sure does have an awful lot of offensive weapons at his fingertips. For example, the speed of those running backs enables him to be able to go without a fullback offense and have all kind of outside speed. And then you put in a Paul Campbell and Pam right up the middle.
From the 48, Castagnola reverse. Ty Hicks left side, 45, gets a block, 50, 45, drops his shoulder and bangs into a Wisconsin defenseman at about the 41. He and David Greenwood together go out of bounds in front of the Wisconsin bench. Today's attendance, 87,585, the 68th consecutive home sellout, and they are watching this game under blue skies and toasty Indian summer temperatures of near 80 degrees. 11 yards for Hicks. It is 1st and 10, marked at the 41 of Wisconsin. Back to throw. Castagnola goes down the right side of the field, and it is caught at the 27-yard line. Knocked out of bounds finally at the 24 is Chuck Hunter. He was covered by Ross Anderson. Hunter had entered this game with only 4 receptions. They have gone to him a lot today. In fact, the quarterbacks have picked on a lot of receivers today. To the sidelines and Dave Purdy.
Well, Greg showed there why he can be a very successful quarterback, as he threw that time way before Chuck made his final cut. In the perfect time when he turned, the ball was there and had good yardage.
19 yards it was. Marked at the 24. Ball on the right side. Castagnola again back to throw to Gary Williams. He cuts away from a man at the 20 and gets into about the 19 or 18. Brad Dwelly, tight end, did a nice job of holding his block. That is called just simply a look-in pass, or sometimes called a hitch pass. There's a flag down, by the way. A hitch pass calls for the receiver to take perhaps one hard step out of his three-point stance forward, and then he comes back across the line of scrimmage into the backfield, hoping that the defenseman has respected his fake enough to be loosely covering him. So it is 2nd and 7 after a gain of 3. Hicks is in motion to the left. That's the wide side of the field. Castagnola will sweep that way with Spencer. Behind his blocking, cuts it up, gets to the 15. Nice blocking that time. Belmer was out there. Ty Hicks. Tim Burke had pulled. Burke is the tackle on the left side. Tim Brown is the Buckeyes' 3rd tackle. They are actually only about 3 tackles deep. Brown is a swingman. He will play either the left or the right, depending upon the circumstances. Gain by Spencer, 5 yards. It sets up 3rd and about 2 in the center of the field at the Wisconsin 15. 12:32 remaining in the contest. It will be the fullback, Belmer, who will get the first down on a nice second effort. He will bang from the 12 down to the 10, taking Dennis Christensen with him. And the Wisconsin cheerleaders in the closed end of the horseshoe doing a little disco dancing as the drum unit and cymbal unit for Wisconsin plays behind it. Flacco likes it. Halftime score, Tennessee 17, Alabama 7. In the 4th quarter, Southern Cal 35, Notre Dame 23. 1st and 10 Buckeyes from the 10. Castagnola will sweep to the left side. Spencer cuts it up at the 5. He's dropped hard at the 3. The blocking that time out of Scott Burris. Burris is a senior from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, getting in some time. And just as Tim Brown is the 3rd tackle for Ohio State, who plays either on the right or left side, so is Scott Burris that type of guard. He will back up either Ernie Andrea on the left or, if needed, Kenny Fritz on the right. That is about the extent of the depth at those 2 positions. 2nd and 2. Left side, Spencer puts his head down, and he is close. He will, I think, have the first down, although there is only about a foot on which he could fall and get the first down without the touch. The Ohio State band is up and cheering the Wisconsin band in this performance as the sportsmanship continues. Castagnola quarterback sneak, touchdown Buckeye. Tissue paper and streamers come sailing out of the top deck at Ohio Stadium. It has been a day for paper litter. Jim DeLeon, the center, nice blocking. Likewise, Fritz and Scott Burris. There is the kick by Onikiewski for the point after. It is good. 10:51 remaining in this contest. The count now, Ohio State 45, Wisconsin nothing. Action will continue after this. Asa kicks off. He gets it deep. Into the wind. Neal takes it at the 1, straight up the center, 5. 10 runs into his own man, laterally at the 15, turns it up at the left sideline at the 20, puts his head down and gets to the 22. The tackle by the kicker, Bob Asa. The Ohio State band sits on the near sideline between the goal line and about the 20, performing in front of them now about 15 of the Wisconsin cheerleaders. And at least the male members of the Ohio State band are delighting in that right now. In fact, a standing ovation. The hoopla continues in the horseshoe. The quarterback, Modal, rolls to his right to throw at the 15, cut it up, he'll keep it. At the 20, the 25, out to the 27. He'll gain 5, it will be 2nd and 5 as the defensive backs had the pass covered. That left the quarterback open for a bit of a run. Bob Murphy and Tony Magaro, who is into the game now, the junior out of Chicago, make the stop. Magaro had been a starter about halfway through this season, but he was simply beat out by Marcus Merritt. And the Buckeyes probably will be substituting defensively, too. In Wisconsin now, given the score, probably will try and get some experience for its people, although its first stringers still need experience. They're so young. The tailback now is John Williams. A collision in the backfield as the quarterback gives to his fullback, who gets very little. On the 2nd and 5 play, Mohap advances it for half the yard. Call it 3rd now and about 4. 45-0, Bob, and judging from the student section at the closed end, you would think it was 0-0 in the final seconds of the Rose Bowl. Brutus Buckeye would like to see that. He's goofing around. A pass to the left sideline, incomplete, out at the 40. Diving attempt by Marvin Neal, the freshman, covered by Norm Burrows. Now Burrows is in the game, the junior from Portsmouth High School. Ben Lee, sophomore from Canton McKinley, is in, spelling Jimmy Laughlin. Senior Gary Doolin out of Madisonville, Kentucky, is in. And we mentioned DeAndrea and Bob Murphy. A lot of tailgating this afternoon, a lot of parties. Good festive mood in Columbus today. After the timeout, the punt now by Greenwood. From his own 20, nice spiral. He got it all. Norm Burrows driven back, and he gets it at his own 7. To the 10, running to the right side, 15, 20, look out. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, still with one man to beat at the 40. The 45 cutting to the left at the 25. Hold down from behind at the 19. He stepped out of bounds down at about the 35-yard line. Either that, there's the official is standing over a penalty flag. Earl Bruce is hot. It is a 70-yard return, and the fans just now are finding out that there is a penalty. Maybe it was the last block that he had to get around on that wall on the right side. We'll find out what their official call is here in just a second. Well, Norm Burrows, prior to that, had returned only one punt for 7 yards. That one went 70. And the junior, you know, has to be absolutely disgusted with the fact that it's going to have to come back. The crowd got its money's worth. Earl Bruce picked him up at about the 25 and ran with him up until he made his cut at the 40. Bruce has pretty good speed. In fact, I think he beat Burrows. Castagnola, draw play, and hit in the backfield is the freshman Kelvin Lindsay. Line of scrimmage to 19. He is stopped short of the 20. Well, call it right at the 20. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. 8 minutes, 45 seconds remaining. The Ohio State blowout now has the Buckeyes leading 45-0. I think one of the things that's been outstanding this afternoon is the way the punt return wall has been set up by the Buckeyes. They've obviously spent some time working on that. Sweep left side, Lindsay again at the 20. He'll get out to the 22. It'll be a gain of 2, setting up 3rd and 9. Castagnola looking to the sidelines. A play will be run on from one of the backups. That tackle by freshman Mike Harrington, a backup for Dave McLean's Wisconsin Badgers.
And Mike guesses were all made by good blocking.
Castagnola back to throw, dumps it out to the right side, and he is disappointed because he throws it low for Lindsey. That will set up fourth. The Buckeyes will have to kick. And Lindsey was wide open out of the backfield on a short down and out pattern. Some of the students now are out on the all-weather track down at the closed loop, marching over towards the Wisconsin band. Well, we'll keep our eye on that. There's as much entertainment on the sidelines today as on the field, and that's saying a lot if you're an Ohio State Buckeye fan. Wisconsin has about 3,000 people here. They haven't been entertained like they would want. Nice snap. Orrs will get it off from his 12, and a boomer. Backing up the receiver to his 30. Running laterally is South. He's covered at the 31. The score, Ohio State 45, Wisconsin nothing. Action will continue after this.
You'll be surprised and pleased with what you find. That's Motorists Insurance. You know us.
On a first down play, almost an interception by the Buckeyes' Brian Schwartz as the quarterback Kevin Model was trying a quick pass over right side. Model made a daring attempt, or rather Schwartz, and actually could have had it. It was right in his hands, but he was on a full sprint. The crowd oohed and ahed because had Schwartz gotten it, there was no one to stop him from 6. 7:36 remaining in the fourth quarter. Ohio State leads at 45-0. And that crowd of students over near the Wisconsin band is doing some kind of cheer. Meanwhile, Wisconsin band members are running over to the Ohio State side. Back to action, back to throw. Model lobs it over the center, and it is over the head of the intended receiver, Ray Sidnor, who was open, primarily because Brian Schwartz had made a move for the interception and then slipped when he realized he was out of position. A pyramid out of 10 members of the Wisconsin band.
And we've got a flag on the play that got caught in the garments of the quarterback back there, and whoever it was that got him.
It is being marched off. It is a big one against Ohio State. The line of scrimmage had been the 30 and will come out to the 45. To their sportsmanship, they have not been whistled for too many sportsmanship or sportsman conduct calls. Back to throw is Model. Wants to throw to the left. It's not there. He's in trouble. It is knocked out of his hands at the 30. Double coverage that time for the Buckeyes. Mike DeAndrea was one of them in there. He is the guy who slapped it down. The Buckeyes going now entirely with reserves. And also in there was, I believe, Mark Sullivan. So it will be 2nd and 10 from the Wisconsin 45. The clock continues to move. The AP Top 20 this week has the Buckeyes 6. The 5 teams ahead of them in order: Alabama, Texas, Nebraska, Southern Cal, and Houston. Alabama is losing today. We'll mention the UPI in a moment. 2nd and 10. Model looking at a 5-man defensive front, and the tailback is covered in the backfield. Stopped by Gary Doolin. And we will check on the ball carrier as now Wisconsin is down deep to some of its substitutes. On this play, though, it was Chucky Davis. Marked at the 44 of Wisconsin. It is now 3rd and 11. The UPI coaches poll: Alabama, Texas, Nebraska, Southern Cal, Houston, and Ohio State. The polls are almost identical this week. Schools which are on NCAA probation. The AP does include them. There are 3 this year: Oklahoma State, Auburn, and Memphis State. Fumble on the snap. The quarterback picks it up, tries to go through the line, and gets back not even to the original line of scrimmage. It will be 4th and 10 plus a foot.
I'd like to update a few scores for you in the Big Ten. In the 3rd period, Michigan leads Illinois 17-0. In the 3rd period, Purdue leads Michigan State 14-0. At the half, Minnesota 10, Iowa 7. At the half, Indiana 9, Northwestern 0. And at the half, Tennessee leading Alabama 17-7.
Bama just got that number 1 national ranking. Greenwood will walk it up to about his 33. Norm Burroughs is back deep at the 10. Strong wind continues to favor the Badger punters in the 4th quarter. Good snap, and again, a nice kick. That's Burroughs is going to let it go. It is going to bounce 7 yards deep. The line of scrimmage had been the 45. It is a 55-yard punt. Let's pause right now for station identification. The next 3 games for Wisconsin: Iowa at home, at Michigan, Northwestern at home. New quarterback Bob Atha rolling to his left on first down, following blocking out to the 25, to the 29. Nice run. Gain of 9, 2nd and 1. Immediately after the game, 2 of the Ohio State coaches will share with us their thoughts on what happened this afternoon. And this week, we will be talking with defensive backfield coach Pete Carroll and Wayne Stanley, who instructs the Buckeyes running backs.
More scores, Mid-America Conference. Halftime, Ball State 24, Central Michigan 7 in the third period now. Miami 21, Bowling Green 3. At the half, Eastern Michigan 17, Kent State nothing.
Atha is rolling to his right with a quarterback keeper the other way this time. At the 30, the 35 goes high into the air and comes down between the 36 and 37. Blocking that time out of Chuck Hunter, along with Tom Levenick. Tom Levenick is in the game for the first time. He is a sophomore out of Washington, Illinois, 6'4", 248 pounds.
You'll probably see Ohio State stay on the ground probably and run out the rest of the game, because Bob Atha is a runner, and they know he's a runner, and as we've just witnessed, once to the left and once to the right.
To my knowledge, this is his first action at quarterback for the season. He will give to his fullback, and there is room over the left side. Out to the 45-yard line goes Cliff Belmer. And fine blocking out of what essentially are the backup troops from tackle to tackle for Ohio State. Freshman Mike Harrington the stop. The clock is now at 4 minutes 45 seconds of the game. Ohio State leads at 45-0. There will be revelry on High Street and in the Columbus Taverns after the game. Chuck Hunter wide to the right. Slot Ty Hicks to the right. And it will be again the fullback Belmer, and on second and short yardage he will easily have the first down out near midfield. Old Glory continues to be blown quite strongly today, Bob. Steady winds.
That's been the steadiest wind we've had all season this afternoon, and it's been coming out of the south, and it's a pretty brisk wind. We've got to be up over 20 knots all afternoon.
Just about 2 feet shy of midfield. It is 1st and 10 Ohio State. Atha draw place, and it is Lindsey away from a man at the 45, the 40, look out, 35, 30, to the 25, 20, and he's picked up at the 18 from behind by Terry Strady. Oh, do you know Kelvin Lindsey wanted that one? Gain of, well, will be spotted right at the 18, 33 yards. I said Lindsey, he was out on that play and is in for this one, but the ball carrier, forgive me, was Tim Spencer. A lot of substituting right now out of both clubs. Right side, fullback, pitch, and it will go to Kelvin Lindsey, who is just strung out along the line of scrimmage. Atha fake to his fullback Belmer, then the option pitch. Line of scrimmage, the 18. It will be spotted only at the 17. A long lateral run that gains 1. 2nd and 9 for Ohio State. Ball on the right side. Atha option to the left. He will keep it at the 15 and runs into a man at about the 13. And he slaps his hand on the ball when he goes down. I'm sure he feels he probably could have cut a different direction and gotten more yardage. But as it turns out, he ran directly into Ross Anderson. 3 minutes, 22 seconds on the clock.
The Wisconsin band is over with their alma mater for their 2,600 fans that are in.
Good support out of Wisconsin. What a delightful football school that is. They will always get 70,000. Is directing another drive that has the Buckeyes close to pay dirt again, and there is firing out prior to the snap. Tim Brown shot across the line of scrimmage, and the Buckeyes will backpedal 5. That is Ohio State's 5th penalty of the day. Wisconsin, despite its youth, has been penalized only once. Atha breaks the huddle. It is now 3rd and 11. Motion left to right out of Ty Hicks. Atha will roll that way and will look for the pass. He goes long down the right side. Ty Hicks on a diving catch at the 4. In passing today, Ohio State passers have put it up 22 times They have completed 15. There is a Wisconsin player down, freshman Kyle Borland. And goal to Ohio State after a 16-yard pass from Atha to Hicks. Atha option, turns it in, falls right on the 1. He reversed out to his left and then did a 360 right back around to the right. And it will be spotted at the 1, 2:49 on the clock in the game. Stopped that time by Richard Lewis. He is into the game for the first time. Richard Lewis is out of Akron, Ohio. Dave McClain, with his background in Ohio, plus that of his assistant coaches, likes to come in and recruit out of the state. He does not have a lot of success, but there are some Ohio players dotting that roster. Left side, and it will be high up and in for the touchdown, Timmy Spencer. The kick is up on the point after by Onikiewski, and again it is good. Onikiewski has been flawless. 2:23 on the clock. The count now 52-0 Ohio State.
I think one of the reassuring things to the Ohio State fans, wherever they are this afternoon, is this program under Coach Earl Bruce is really in its infancy. Because when you look down our roster, the offensive backfield, you see only one senior, and I do believe that is Paul Campbell.
The kickoff by Atha into a wind, and he is going to drive Marvin Neal 5 yards deep. So Atha fires the cannon, and it will come out to the 20 for Wisconsin. They have 2:23 in which to operate. 22 attempts today, 15 completions for Ohio State. Some other statistics, 26 first downs. They have held Wisconsin to only 8. Wisconsin has put the ball up 14 times today, completed 7, but they were picked off by Ray Ellis in one instance for 27-yard touchdown. This last scoring drive, by the way, 80 yards, 10 plays, 3:26 off the clock. Spencer capped at a 1-yard run. The quarterback mobile is rolling to his right to pass and does so to the right sideline. Diving attempt, no good. The receiver is out of bounds in front of his own bench at the 30. Intended for Tom Stout, who has gotten quite a workout today. The team's leading receiver. They have gone to him quite a bit. Into the game now at tailback is Troy King for Wisconsin. He's only a freshman. 3 years down the line. 2:18, the clock is stopped after the incomplete pass. Back to throw again is the quarterback. He's dropped at the 15. Mark Sullivan gets him from behind. To the sidelines and Dave Ferdley.
I'd just like to make a point, Chuck, before the end of the game here, because I'm going to be going underneath, is that I'd just like to point out the uncanny ability of the OSU coaching staff to get this offense to a point where each week, they can exploit the opponent's weaknesses. Last week, we saw them against IU going inside with Paul Campbell very successfully, and they threw to the inside or middle pattern. This week, we see just the opposite. We've gone to the outside with Art and Cal, and we've thrown the outcuts to our receivers. A very, just exploiting whatever they give us. And the quarterback is covered. Don't go away, Dave. The quarterback is covered on an option to the left side. It was 3rd and long. And Wisconsin will have to give up the ball 4th and 14 now at their 15-yard line. As a former Ohio State quarterback, Dave, what are your thoughts as you view the game from the sideline on the thoughts of Earl Bruce, his offensive strategy? What do you think of him as a coach? I think the players have a deep respect for him, which you have to have, but they also have a confidence in him because they haven't put all their money in one type of attack. They're offensively, they're confident that they can do whatever the defense will give them. And so if they have to pass, they can do it effectively. If they have to run, they can do that.
Punt from the 5-yard line. Burrows at his own 38 to the 40, 45, 50. Look out again. 45, 40, puts his head down, gets down to the 36. So twice, Burrows has done a nice job of kind of laying back after initially receiving the punt and allowing the blocks to form, and have they formed.
I think what we're seeing here is an honest confidence. I don't see a false sense of well-being among the squad. Well, maybe we'll have to play it game to game, but I think, to use the old phrase, they are definitely on a roll. and they are just waiting for anybody to come in here. And you know who comes in next week.
Senior Michigan State comes in next week. Senior quarterback Mike Straheen is in for the first time this season. Sweep to the left side, and it is Kelvin Lindsay at the 35, the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Buckeye. His new teammate at Ohio State. Now we're ready. The kick by Onikiewski is up, and it will sail 15 rows deep into the bleachers at the open end. 37 seconds remaining. A crowd of 87,585 has seen the second consecutive, almost flawless performance out of Ohio State. He is in charge of the offensive back. Here is Atha's kick to Marvin Neal. And again, Atha gets it all into a 20-mile-an-hour wind. 3-yard. Neal's not going to come out with it. And it's really hard to imagine the strength of Atha's leg kicking into that wind and still getting it consistently today into the end zone. This quarter has been brought to you by Capital Financial Services and Motorist Insurance Company. More alternating out of Ohio State. Glenn Cobb, who we just talked about, has come in. The Ohio State coaches have big plans for him. 6'3", 208 pounds. Fine linebacker at Miami Trace High School, which, as we have mentioned before, is Art Schlichter's old high school, too. Wide receivers each direction for the Badgers. They are 37 seconds away from a shutout. A pass by the quarterback, and it is complete out at the 30, and getting to the 35-yard line into the game for the first time is sophomore Al Simonson out of Staunton, Wisconsin.
About 20 high school prospects have been guests at the university, and most are watching the game today with their parents. They had a pregame meal with the coaches, and they will speak after the game with coaches. Although this year, among other positions, Coach Bruce looking for quarterbacks and offensive linemen.
Because those are the two areas which Ohio State will be hit hardest by with graduation. Back to throw again as the quarterback. It is complete this time to the left side at the 37-yard line. The receiver is tripped up, Joe Rich, and you can hear the crowd counting it down. Timeout is called. The count stops at 5. It's at the 39-yard line. And there it will be, although it's academic, second and about 6.5. Coach's comments coming up after the game. The quarterback remains Kevin Model. He will roll out to his right, throw back to the left, or actually look that way, and complete it to the right. The ball is loose at the 35. It will be called an incomplete pass. Bobbled by Dave Mohap out of the backfield. Looked like he might have had it, but he had his back to us, and we couldn't see. The Ohio State team standing now on the sideline. 1 second remaining. The final play of the game as the Wisconsin marching band, which has made the trip today, is lined up at the open end of the stadium. The Ohio State band remains right in front of its seats, which are just adjacent to the Ohio State bench. The crowd now trekking across the big playing field at the open end, which today I believe housed a soccer game. Back to throw, the quarterback Model throws short over the center, incomplete, the game is over. And now the penalty, hold the phone. The teams have cleared out for the locker room, but if the penalty is against Ohio State, Wisconsin will have a final opportunity. And that's probably going to take them a while to get that organized. And UCLA only got 1 touchdown. So here we go again. Back to throw. Model goes long down the center of the field, tipped into the air, and incomplete at the 22. Now is it over? Yes. The end of the game. Today's attendance, 87,585. The teams crisscrossing. It'll be a quick handshake between Dave McClain and Earl Bruce. Good friends. They used to coach together. The final score this afternoon, Ohio State 59, Wisconsin nothing. We will return with the final summary after this from Capital Financial Services.